Well, howdy, howdy, howdy. Nearly senior citizen here. Greetings, boys, girls, and all of our non-binary friends, and welcome to this, a brand new day. Yay! Thumbs up, a brand new day, a good thing. As long as you're metabolizing, and there are plenty of places around the world where things aren't good. I mean, I don't want to get into politics and recent events. So just, things are bad in many places around the world. Oy vey. Excuse me. I woke up wheezing and hacking this morning, so the air is not bad because we have lived through it being bad, where I would go outside and there was so much smoke from all the wildfires that a block out, it started to look like the draw distance on Morrowind was brought in so tight, because there was this fog from the smoke in the air. This morning when I went outside, it's about 5 blocks out, and then it starts getting hazy. So the draw distance has been moved outward, but there's still a lot of junk in the air. So yeah, I woke up wheezing and trying to cough and hack and coughing and hacking. But as you just heard, still trying to get stuff up and it's not moving, so yay! Hopefully the air is going to clear up soon. That'd be nice. Yay. But also, we're talking about fog, unfortunately, I've also been dealing with... I have been on a slow, semi-gentle depression ride of late, and part of what's making that worse is I have mental fog from fibromyalgia and just things that have happened through my life with my nerve damage and all. Sometimes it's very difficult to do thinking and such. I've been really dealing with a lot of that, and it's been tough because I'm not just trying to cut my way through the bamboo forest of ADHD and really sweating and working hard, my muscles hurting, but just it's that fibro fog, the mental fog, not being able to think clearly. And gosh, I'm just, I got little tickly spots and I don't know why, and it's bugging me. Of course, I saw bugs this morning, so now of course I'm thinking about that. Whenever you think about something like that, of course, because of your increased attention, there's increased blood flow, and when there's increased blood flow, guess what? You have itching. And then the itching brings increased attention, which brings increased blood flow. So once you start going, oh, that tickles, then it's going to tickle more, and you're going to keep doing it more and more in a grand repeating loop of repetitive action. Yay. So if that happens, much more than it has, my apologies. But that good old fog, it's not all just fibro fog. There's a lot of it just fog from other things that I deal with, and that's always fun. So I've been struggling to deal with things and talk with things, and of course I still am dealing with just other things. I'm still dealing periodically with the death of my wife, and of course I haven't been able to deal with the death of my mother or the death of my father yet. So that's been wonderful and waiting for me. And then, of course, my kitty, she's approaching 20 years old, and she's been acting like maybe there's a mental component because animals get dementia too. And she's not eating a lot of what I feed her, even the stuff that she normally loves, so I'm hoping she's not going downhill quickly as well. So, lots of fun stuff going on. On the actually kind of fun thing, I have been mostly estranged from my children, which means no contact. And while that hasn't been largely true, I mean, because my children have been raised by my in-laws, and like a year after my wife died, there was a huge misunderstanding, and my in-laws have spent the rest of the time telling my children that I am an evil, evil person. Whereas in reality, I was just a broken man suffering from ADHD, not realizing he was on the autism spectrum, unable to think and concentrate, and for some reason my in-laws decided I was an evil spider in a vast spider web of evil. And they've been telling my children that for all these years. I consider it my middle child, but my oldest biological child contacted me via Facebook Messenger the other day, kind of apologizing for the behavior of not being in contact because this child was the worst in all of it, and wanting to be back in contact and saying, I'm very sorry, I love you. So that's been good, and I've been talking with my youngest. My oldest, no bad blood, just drifting away. So, yay. Thumbs up, they're approaching 30, probably like 26 right now, born in 96, so yay. But past that, as stated, I've been trying to think of things, and that's good. Been trying to stay creative as I can because there's just a lot of stuff I can't do physically and mentally. So I have been trying to think on things, so as I go walking, I'm still trying to think about like the bone hurting juice world. Again, I've got it all mixed up and I don't know why. I always do that. Excuse me. One of the things though, I had it written down and I don't want to forget, so I'm going to talk about this one. I was out walking the other day. It was like 3-4 days ago by this time, and this red truck drove by, and periodically people yell stuff when I'm out walking. You know, people yell stuff. I've been driving with my housemates periodically, and one of my housemates, what he likes to do is yell stuff out windows while they're out driving. So it happens. It's not they're specifically yelling at me. It's just there's some desire to yell at strangers on sidewalks, and I happen to be the trigger at that moment. I couldn't hear what was said, which is quite often the case. You think you're being loud. You think you can be heard. But your voice when you yell is largely covered up by the sound of traffic all around you and the traffic of your vehicle. And when you yell something, the window of your being close enough to the person is very small. So if you yell like, hey, you look like a giant panda, just as a stupid example, you're yelling, hey, you look like a giant panda. What the person on the street hears is, and they're left going, Ananda? What? And so that happened, and I had no idea what was being yelled the first time. They came back for a second ride. About 4 blocks later, I had walked about 4 blocks, then the same vehicle went by. This time, they drove by, and they were actually holding their phone out to record me, so it must have been like for a TikTok or something. But it sounded like it. They were yelling, "You're bald, something something cue ball." I'm not exactly bald, but I've got very short hair because my hair is really thinning, and in the back here, oh my gosh, I still got hair. You know, it's not a bald spot, but oh goodness gracious, I am really thin. And then of course I cut it here short because it's getting thin, and long thin hair looks terrible in my view. So yeah, I can understand. And it made me laugh. I thought it was funny. And in fact, I was walking along and I thought to myself, I was like, you didn't even give me a chance to fall into character. You kids with your newfangled phones taking pictures and videos for your social media. Back in my day, if we wanted to take video, we had to record thousands of still images, and that was not only expensive, it was impractical. Oh, get off my lawn. They just didn't give me a chance. It would have been fun. Still though. But yes, real quick, I want to talk just a bit more because creative writing, I want to stay being creative. Part of the things I'm thinking of is I've set up the human civilization on this other continent and then tried to push them up against this one thing. So I've decided that the creatures and species and civilization that they're pushing against is very inscrutable, very ineffable, very hard to understand, because you can't ask too many questions. If you ask too far, or you ask about the wrong thing, or you do the wrong stuff, they just slaughter your whole team and dump your corpses outside the gate for either you to come pick up or for the animals to take care of, because after a while, you know, the animals will drag the parts, pieces, and meat away, and what the animals don't take care of, the maggots will. So, but it had started off, and I wanted to make them, like I say, ineffable. They will talk really, really lightly and stuff, just stuff that doesn't matter. They will engage in inconsequential talk with other races, and not much more. You can trade minor little things, you know, just say, but then even asking, hey, what's that building? Without realizing you're talking about a building. They have a building, about a library, quote unquote, the functional equivalent thereof, and they don't share in real stuff, no social stuff other than what you can just see, and real tech and real knowledge. Well, you ask, hey, what's that building? It's a library, and they may be speaking to you about something inconsequential as they walk in that direction, and then you say, hey, what's that? And then they turn and start walking back toward you, and without even breaking conversation, when they get to you, that's when they take out their knife and they just stab you until you stop living. And through some communication, every other member of your team may be just standing by the side of the road, and somebody, as they're talking to a friend, just walks up, takes out their knife, knifes you to death right there without even breaking conversation with their friend, not even acknowledging your existence, even as they're murdering you with a knife. And then, of course, after you stop living, they just grab your corpse, throw it over their shoulder, drag it out to the front gate, and throw it out, while never breaking conversation with anyone that's around them. Very dangerous and very hard to understand, but at the same time, they do occasionally volunteer some information. Very early in the monoculture's attempts to communicate, they used large teams because that's what they were used to. But after, you know, one mistake by one person and the entire 10, 15, 20 person team all gutted and torn apart and then just tossed outside the gates, they figured out, oh, decentralized operations only get the small decentralized part done. If there's an operator in the area operating all the small teams, then they'll take out this guy and then they take out everyone underneath. But if it's a bunch of decentralized teams where the main orders are given by someone in the capital 2 weeks away, and by the time you get there, you and your 2 or 3 person team, yeah, there's like 10, maybe 5 other teams there, but you're a decentralized thing. Just the 2 or 3 of you. And in the context of the species and the story, one of the very few times that information was actually non-inconsequential was one of them came up and said something to one of the teams along the lines of, smaller teams, easier to pivot and change direction, both physically and mentally. Smaller lines of supply, smaller lines of communication, easier to get things said and done. Excellent demonstration of tactical thinking. And as well, good demonstration of threat evaluation skills. Good job. And then they leave. It's a twofold thing they're able to figure out. Number one, it's showing that it was genuine praise, that they are watching, and that number two, they are watching and they are attempting to learn. They are reaching out in the only way they know how as a species. So they are watching and learning and trying on their own, which is why the monoculture hasn't given up. Plus, they have to expand. They're kind of pinched and it's tight. And I've opened up 24 hours worth of comments in my community tab, and I'm going to go through and thank 20 to 25 people, or however many people have left comments. It's been a long time since I've even broken 20 commenters, but I'm going to go through and thank them for having left a comment. I'm not reading the comments right now. I'm going to thumbs up and answer each one I can afterward, but for right now, I'm just thanking you for having left a comment. If I mispronounce a username, no disrespect is intended, and even though I count American Sign Language with my various issues, sometimes I can't remember anything at all. Some days are better, some days are worse. We have Tintin STA Cruz, thumbs up and thank you, and there is a tiny X. Thumbs up. Confused Owl 29, most likely, and it's always good to see you in the comments. Thank you. Skyscraper GD, thumbs up. I don't know how to pronounce this. SYEDAIALIHASSANSHAH, thumbs up and thank you. Iron 666, greatly appreciated. Haunted Mushrooms ASMR, I like that name, thumbs up. Josh Sanabria, greatly appreciated. We have Lil Yusa Sand, thumbs up. And then there's, I do not know what that symbol is, but thank you very, very much for the validation. It is appreciated. We have CJRC, thumbs up. Johnny K, that is a good idea. I should look into that. Beatrice, thumbs up and thank you. Favel, greatly appreciated. Crystal Phillips, thumbs up. And after years, Shenanigans TV, good to see you in the comments. And Hokey Smokes, I hope you're okay. And then there's Ice Damon, thumbs up and thank you, each and every one of you. Get me out of my head and into the world and dealing with real people, if only in text. And that's a very good thing. Thumbs up and thank you. And since my hands are in the air, if you could check out my various links wherever they happen to be, they're in the text description of the video, but especially if you're watching on mobile, I have no ideas where the text file would be. But inside of it, excuse me, I have all sorts of links like Twitter and Facebook and Patreon.com. And if you could become a Patreon.com patron, like one of these beautiful and awesome people who help keep me alive every single month, that would be beautiful and awesome. Definitely a thumbs up on that. And if you'd like to help me out financially without sending money through the patronage, and I do have a PayPal link down below, and I'm pretty desperate right now. Any help you can give would be very awesome. And if you'd like to help me out without sending money, I do have an Amazon wish list link down below with things like cat food on it. If you could check that out, that'd be very cool. Do not feel obligated. I do not feel entitled. And if you cannot, I don't know how I do my hands anymore. If you cannot donate or you simply do not donate, I do take all good wishes and I deposit them in the bank of my heart where I draw interest. So thank you very much. I figured out what to do with my hands. I remembered. If you could toss me a like, I appreciate all the positive validation I get from my existence. And of course, if you could hit the notification bell on the subscription button, that would be very cool. Definitely a thumbs up on that. Well, Hokey Smokes, I've got videos just to edit. I did a lot of recording yesterday, which means once I get this recording done, I just have a lot of editing and rendering to do today. So hopefully I can get the phone calls done that I need to make. That would be a very, very good thing indeed. So if you're in the United States or anywhere anywhere. Even places that thought they had this down pat are having to deal with breakthroughs. And in places like the United States, where we have governors actively fighting and saying, if you try to protect your citizens in any way, we will strip you of any protections and any money. You will not tell your people to not wear masks. You will not tell your people to get vaccinations. You will not tell your people to protect themselves in any way. And oh, by the way, please be careful, because all of our hospitals are full of covfefe bug patients. Please be careful. Maintain your social distancing. Wash your hands often. Try not to touch your face. Wear a mask when you're around other people. You do not need to deal with lifelong complications or possible end-of-life situations. So you take care. Have a great day today. I will see you on the flip side, and that is, well, a definite thumbs up in my book.